Hello and welcome to a new episode of Chasing 80s Toys. I really enjoy bringing you these videos I do, but I enjoy it even more when I'm joined by good friends from the toy community, and today is one of those days and I'm joined by my dear good friends Mark Bobahicks and Bob Hansen. And the theme for today's video is Transformers. We're gonna show you 3 of our favorite Transformers that each of us has in his collection. Stay tuned. Okay, for the first Transformer I want to show you, and he's nothing too special in terms of transformation, but it's the memory that counts for me with this one. It's Top Spin, one of the 80s jump starters, and story behind this one. This was the first Transformer I bought with money that I got for my birthday. I went to the toy store, stared at the toy aisles for perhaps an hour or two, and then I picked up Top Spin. Why did I pick this one over some of the other Transformers in the store, which had way cool and better transformations? This one was blue, and I love the blue, and he had a beautiful chrome gun, and that just spoke to me. That's why I took him home. I had so many cool adventures with this one and the Transformers that came after that in my collection, that this one always remained a favorite because it was my first Transformer. So that's the story behind Top Spin, and since it's such an easy transformation, I think we can show that transformation on camera right now and see if it still starts, transforms as it's supposed to all those years ago, and we're talking about 40 years, something like that ago. Let's try it out. Okay, we're downstairs and I'm gonna show you, or attempt to show you, the transformation of Top Spin. Easiest transformation there is. Click him in place and he transforms in this Cybertron futuristic looking airplane, spaceship like. And the way he transforms, or should transform, is by putting him on a flat surface. Pull him in back so that the wind-up motor is winded up, and then let him go. And then he should transform. Alright, that went really well. Let's attempt that again.
Dare to keep all your dreams alive. You got the future in your hand. Dare to something will to survive. It's time to take a stand. You can win if you dare.
Hey, thanks singing Landshark, chasing 80s toys. Thanks for letting me join you. My name's Bob. I run the Bob Squad channel. The Bob Squad is whoever likes it. We're talking 3 favorite Transformers. It is so difficult to pick. I like them. These are all modern choices, okay? So, nothing's vintage. So these are the Studio Series, Legacy, Earthrise, War for Cybertron, Kingdom, Amazon Prime, Equal Housing, Lender, Object Shifted in the Bin, Durna, Overhead Thing into Flight, something, nothing fragile, liquid, perishable, potentially hazardous, Transformers, Hasbro line. This Galvatron is really awesome, and yeah, your Landshark. And he is my first pick. This was a gift from a good friend of mine, a fellow stand-up comedian buddy in New York City. He gave me this Galvatron. I love this guy. It's got the comic book or the toy colors versus the cartoon colors. And in my head, I had the cartoon colors in mind when I was thinking about getting a Galvatron for the first time ever. But then I got this guy, and he looks so cool, and the color scheme, it made him different and stand out more from Cyclonus and Scourge so much better. He has a cannon. He explodes. It's a tank-like thing. I think I transformed this correctly. Let's look at him as a robot. Here he is in robot form. Good old Galvs himself. Yeah, he's so menacing, and he looks like the leader. He looks like the meanest, baddest dude if you put him on a shelf with all the other guys in his era. Green evil Decepticon matrix of leadership, like so. One of the complaints I saw online was that you gotta apply these stickers yourself, and we're not all so great at it, and it was a chore for me as well. I did my very best. I think I did half decent. And they do come off over time. You see he's beat up a little bit over his left eye there. That thing's coming off. But when these things come off, he still actually looks pretty good. And for my videos that I like to make, my son Bob's, you know, they're in battle anyway. So call it minor battle damage or whatever you will. But nice to finally have a Galvatron of any kind in my collection. And I was pleasantly surprised with how much I loved the original toy color scheme as opposed to the cartoon scheme. So this was the way to go. It definitely has more than enough nods in color and with his gun placement here to the Megatron character. So it always reminds you of that, but added on. So absolutely love this toy.
Hello everybody, Bobahicks here, and Chris from Chasing 80s Toys has very kindly asked me to contribute to a discussion, and we are going to pick our 3 favourite Transformers toys and have a little chat about them. And I'm delighted to be back here on Chasing 80s Toys, and very thankful to Chris for inviting me back on. And it's been a tough decision trying to narrow it down to my 3 favourites, but I think I'm happy with my selections, and I hope you guys are happy with them too. Truth be known, I have lots of favourite Transformers, so you know, I could probably make a top 10 favourites easily, maybe even a top 20, but we'll settle for 3 for the time being, and I hope you guys enjoy the Transformers that I've picked today.
For the Decepticons, anger was the beginning.
Okay, so for my first pick, I have chosen Optimus Prime. But it's not just regular, plain old Optimus Prime. This is the Black Convoy. This is a JAFCON exclusive from the year 2000. And from the moment I first laid eyes on this toy, I wanted it. I just always thought the idea of a black coloured Optimus Prime is just so cool to me. I actually saw this toy in a picture in a collecting magazine back in 2001 or 2002. I had no money back then. I had no hope, and as far as I knew, of ever being able to get my hands on one. And I was lucky enough to pick this particular one up a few years ago now, I think 2018. And I was delighted to get it. I have opened it, even though it's still in the box here. It has been opened already. I've played around with it, and I'm looking forward to taking them out to show you guys, because, you know, as a Transformers fan and just a toy collector in general, you know, I tend to buy a lot of repaints of the same type of toy over and over again. But of all the repaints I own or I've ever laid eyes on, I honestly think that this Black Convoy Optimus Prime has to be my favourite. Okay, so here we have Black Convoy out of the packaging, he is looking spectacular. Like I said earlier, I just love the idea of a black Optimus Prime, and that's exactly what we have here. The exact same G1 Prime mold that we're all used to. Let's separate the trailer here. Take a look at this cab. How awesome is that? You can actually see, the camera just barely picks it up, there's a gold fleck in the black paint on the non-die-cast parts on the plastic. It looks really nice. It's also a good way of telling the real deal from a KO. This is the real deal if it has that gold fleck. You can also tell by the box as well. But of course we got the black trailer here as well, and in truck mode especially, this toy just looks brilliant. And I know people are probably going to think, hey, well look, it's just a G1 Prime except it's black. It's like, I know, that's why it's so cool to me. I just love the very idea of this figure. As simple a concept as it is to just take an existing character and paint him a different color. It just really works for me. Of all the variations and repaints of Prime I've ever seen, this is definitely my favourite. So take a nice look at that truck mode, and I'm going to get him into robot mode.
We are all children of Cybertron.
Okay, so here we have Black Convoy transformed into his robot mode, and I have to say, I think he looks spectacular. Yes, once again, it's just G1 Prime painted black, but wow, look at that. That chrome really pops against the black paint scheme. Probably hard to pick up some of the details because of the color scheme with my camera, but take my word for it, this is a marvelous version of Optimus Prime. Of course, he's got the iconic blaster as well. It's the thin version. It's based on the second version of the G1 blaster. But yeah, that chrome from the year 2000 is holding up pretty well. Unlike some of my 80s Transformers chrome, it's in impeccable condition. Of course, we can see some of this gold fleck showing up on the camera as well. So wow, awesome. Of course, we also see here Roller, and unlike your average typical G1 Roller, this guy is all black to match the trailer. Of course, this being a Japanese toy, the spring-loaded feature on the trailer is far more powerful than the American and European G1 versions. I'm not even going to launch Roller because he'll probably fire across the room and crack the glass in one of my cabinets, and if you think I'm exaggerating, believe me, I'm not. The spring on this is incredibly powerful. It probably wouldn't pass European or American safety laws, especially not these days, but very cool. Just love this whole setup here with Prime, the trailer, Roller, and yeah, once again, I just absolutely love this toy, and this gave me an excuse to actually take him out of the box and play around with him, because I just don't take him out that often. I'm kind of precious with him. He is pretty hard to find these days, and I do want to keep him well. I actually went looking recently to see what the prices are like now, and they're a little bit too high for me, I have to say, so I'm glad I got this guy when I did, so I can enjoy him now, and hope you guys enjoyed looking at him too. Black Convoy.
it's time to show you my second choice Transformer that I really like in my collection. He's definitely one of my favorites. So this is Blitzwing. Blitzwing is part of the Decepticon team. He's a triple changer, which means that he has 2 transformation modes. He can transform into this tank, and he can transform into a fighter jet plane. And as a kid in the 80s and still today, I always liked the fact that the early Transformer cartoon episodes, most of the Decepticons transform into planes. And most of the Autobots into cars, sport cars, trucks and that. That's why I like Blitzwing in his fighter jet mode. But I also like the fact that he can transform into a third mode, and that's a tank mode. And he looks beautiful with that purple. That's why Blitzwing is definitely part of my top 3 favorite Transformers in my collection.
Choice number 2 for Bob at a Studio Series Sludge. Goodness gracious, what a big beefy boy. Just so you get, you know Galvatron's a big dude, right? So look at that. Just take a look at this monster right here. Absolutely love this. This was the only vintage, Sludge was the only vintage Dinobot I had back in the 80s, 1985 I believe. So to get him in this form, and I still have the vintage around. It's one of the few childhood toys. I must have transformed him a trillion times. So I absolutely love this figure for all the nostalgic reasons, and he was the last of the 3. I got Grimlock, Slug. I know they changed it, End Sludge, to do the thing. So he is sheer mass, and I think the slowest and most dim-witted of the Dinobots. So, you know, when you think sophisticated alien robot computer, you want them to be dumb. Yeah, absolutely firepower galore. Just not a guy you mess with. Let's transform him because he's a Dinobot, for goodness sakes. Who keeps their Dinobot in a robot form? What's the matter with you people? Are you crazy? Hey, Sludge, clear this rubble and be quick about it. Hey, here's Dinobot Sludge. Oh, it's hard to get them all in frame. Hey, he's another big beefy monster, fun to transform. LOL, I'm kidding. His cannon thankfully clicks in here and holds a lot of his bits and pieces together. These 2 plates will always fall off when you're transforming them, but whatever. One of my favorite things is just the articulation of the neck and the jaw, and it's not from the head, be careful, it's actually a sideways type of thing, and he just kind of looks beautifully dumb right there with that expression on his face. Tail for whipping, breaking stuff. Almost just impenetrable. You just can't move this this big beefy monster. So in the US he's still available. He's still hanging out on Walmart and Target shelves at the bottom there, just hibernating, waiting to find some old energon to munch on. Being Sludge. Good old Sludge.
For my next pick, I am kind of cheating a little bit because this is actually 2 Transformers characters that combine into one awesome vehicle. So this is Dreadwing and Smokescreen, G2 Decepticons, and I absolutely love this. So as you can see, in its current form, it is a kind of modded, futuristic looking stealth bomber with a giant Gatling gun full of bombs. He also comes with additional bombs that you can hang under the wings either side. I just have them in storage at the moment because I was kind of afraid of losing them. So pretty awesome stealth bomber mode here for this Decepticon. A major upgrade over his G1 form. And as I said, it's not just Dreadwing we have here, but also his partner in crime, Smokescreen, who you can see here in the back. I just get him out there. And we can see he is his own self-contained futuristic looking Cybertronian jet, also armed to the teeth with 2 rocket launchers on either wing. Pretty cool. I actually used to pretend this guy was Cyclonus when I was a kid. And yes, I did actually have this toy as a kid. It was one of my favourites. And it's one of my favourites now. Not just one of my favourite G2 toys, but one of my favourite Transformer toys ever. And it's just a great little set. Both vehicles look fantastic. And there is an extra transformation here. So apart from the, combined jet stealth bomber mode, our larger friend here can also be converted into a tank. So if I recall, we have to hit a switch somewhere. Yes, I see it. My big fat fingers able to do this anymore. Where have we got this? There we go. Little switch in there. My adult hands are a little big to activate it, but basically it flips the wings up. We can collapse in these little tail pieces here. We bring our Gatling gun up and around, and it becomes like a top cannon. We flip the landing gear in and we have tank treads. So flip it on that side and flip it on this side. And now we have him in his crazy tank mode. It's pretty wild looking. Like, you can still see it's pretty much just the front of a stealth bomber, but it's a tank with a giant cannon on top. Speaking of cannons, should I risk firing this? Let's see if it still works. Yeah. Boom. Boom. Yeah, so 2 dud springs obviously in there. These 2 didn't fire too well, but the rest unloaded fairly quickly. And he actually rolls pretty nicely too. So yeah, like I was saying, not just one of my favourite G2 toys, but probably one of my favourite Transformer toys ever. I had this as a kid. I absolutely loved this. I repurchased it years later as an adult. I did still have my childhood one. It was missing a lot of pieces. I ended up giving it to my nephew, who I'm pretty sure enjoyed it and played with it, so I'm happy enough that it went to a good home. But let's just... I'll do something I don't usually do. I'll take out these missiles and let's just do an on-screen conversion into robot mode. Let's see if I can make this as least awkward as possible. So we will flip the treads back in and we will detach them to form his legs. We can then flip his chest over, flip his arms out. We can pop the head up. He's starting to take shape. Have to adjust his back cannon so it becomes an over-the-shoulder cannon. And I believe, and apologies for taking him off camera while I do this, his arms have to be taken out of these little slots. And we'll just bring the camera up here to see Dreadwing in all his menacing glory. He's a little bit top heavy. He will stand once you get him posed right. He's pretty decent for standing. But yeah, pretty cool looking Decepticon. And you can see there he's kind of got red eyes that are translucent. Kind of hard to pick up, but they are translucent. I just always thought that this guy was really badass looking. In the G2 comics, he is killed off by Megatron, and then he's rebuilt into this new form where he just looks like an awesome badass. So let me take a second to get this guy in a decent pose and standing upright, and I will get to transforming his partner in crime, Smokescreen. Okay, so here we see Dreadwind and Smokescreen standing alongside each other. Smokescreen is a pretty cool looking little Decepticon in his own right. He actually has a face that's very similar to Optimus Prime. He kind of looks a little bit like an evil Optimus Prime. And just an overall very cool looking little character. He looks like he'd fit right in among the Unicron created Decepticons. Like you could see him hanging out with Cyclonus and the Sweeps. He just has that kind of look about him. But he's a great little companion for his big buddy Dreadwing. Now, his cannons in jet mode, these two side cannons, they can be used as blasters. He can hold them in his hands, but they can also be given to our big friend Dreadwing as well. So I might just shoot me with one. Got me right in the gut. You got me. You got me. Okay, so he can hold the cannons too. So lots of playability there. And yeah, the springs on these are still working. Sorry, glass cabinet. I'm taking a lot of abuse today. So yeah, these two guys are just a great pair, and that's really kind of what made this set for me as a kid, was the fact that you actually got two robots. It's two robots, it's three vehicles, and a ton of weapons. This big cannon is just so badass. This like Gatling gun. I always had a lot of fun firing those missiles as a kid. I lost most of them pretty quickly, I'll not lie, just through various adventures playing with them. If I do recall though, the spring mechanism will actually allow you to fit kind of other similarly shaped projectiles in there, and it will fire. I used to actually fire like lots of random missiles that would just come with other toys and stuff, so pretty cool. Like I said, a childhood favourite.
Okay, just one more Transformer to show you in my top 3 favorite Transformers that I have in my collection. This one was a Transformer that I never had in the 80s. I don't even think I ever saw him in the toy stores in the 80s in the area where I lived. None of my friends had him. I got this one as a gift from Jody a few years ago. I will go get him. Here he is. It's Triptychon, and just look at him. I think no explanation is needed to tell you why this is one of my favorite Transformers ever. He can transform in a battle vehicle, a battle base, but his coolest mode is of course this monstrous beastly dinosaur Godzilla-like monster that frightens the heart of every Autobot which it comes across. Triptychon is awesome and he moves at a pretty good pace. we are at the starting point of the race between two giants of the 80s. On the left, Triptychon. And the challenger to the right, Zoidzilla. Transformers against Zoids. Let the battle begin.
3, 2, 1, go!
That's why Triptychon is the final place that I have, my first place that I have in my top 3 favorite Transformers that I have in my collection. Now let's see what Bob's final Transformer is he likes to show you.
And my third pick is one of the more obscure characters. He's technically part of G1, but I don't think most G1 fans will recognize him right away. But bear with me, he is Optimus Prime. I love this version of Optimus Prime. I do have a knockoff of the vintage G1 just because you just have to have some version of that Prime. But for all intents and purposes, LOL, I love this. This is the Kingdom Optimus Prime. This is not the Earthrise. Earthrise is the one everyone likes. Kingdom is very, very close, more or less the same thing. But I remember looking at both, and just because of the way the cab was completely flat and everything else, I really liked Kingdom. Take a look at the trailer. This I can transform on camera. There's his gun. He can murder people with it. His weapon is a little droopy, but it's for some reason it does this and it does droop. But after 40 years, hey, it's a problem. You're no stranger to. Yeah, this is a much simpler way to open up his trailer. They just kind of pull some stuff apart. It's like a sick bed, medical base stuff too, and I guess you can turn these cannons around and you can shoot people. And there is good old Optimus Prime. I would never do that. Okay, let me transform him. And here's our friend Optimus Prime. He's got his chest open because there's a matrix of leadership. The fingers open just a little bit so he can hold it, and this is removable obviously because it was removed when I showed it to you. Boom, boom, right there. I love this. This is so cartoon accurate, and even movie cartoon accurate, but it doesn't look, the toy itself doesn't look cartoony. You know who it is right away. There he is. There's our fearless leader. Good old faceplate and all. Little long-legged, whatever. I think he looks terrific. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. This is my Optimus. This is what I wanted. I'm glad I waited. No hate on the Earthrise one, but I'm glad I waited just a little bit longer. And I saw the Kingdom one, and I just went, that's my Prime. That's the one I like. This is cool. There's no like empty back stuff. Like when he gets hit against stuff, he gets hit against stuff. Well, these are my 3 picks of my favorite Transformers toys. Thanks, Chris and Chasing 80s Toys, for letting me join in, share some picks with you. Transform, roll out till all are one. No one's half the battle. Power of Gray Skull. Where's the beef? Forgot to add the fabric softener. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Looks like a pump. Feels like a sneaker. I pity the fool. Norm! Thanks, everybody.
Last but certainly not least, we have the most modern Transformer on my list today. He's also the smallest Transformer on my list, and he is the Transformers Kingdom Core Class Soundwave. Now, I'm sure some of you are probably wondering, Bobahicks, why out of all your Transformers for this last slot have you picked a teeny weeny little core class Transformer? Could you not have picked something a little bigger and more impressive? Well, it ain't about the size, it's about the motion in the ocean, you know, so look, I actually love this. So the tape deck mode looks really, really nice. Like, look at, so I suppose just to backtrack, look at how tiny this is in my hand. And the fact that it has this much detail is very impressive. Very nice looking Decepticon logo there. Wee bit kibbly at the back maybe, but nothing offensive. But I have to say I was very, very impressed with this toy, and you know, I like this tape deck mode. It is nice. I would say it is slightly not accurate to at least his 80s transformation, because we've got these two little bits which will actually form his feet in robot mode. They kind of stick out the top. That would be my only minor complaint about this particular toy. But what I really love about this toy is how he looks in his robot mode. And in my opinion, and I own a lot of different sound waves from just various incarnations of the character that have been released over the years. I don't own a Masterpiece Soundwave, so I can't compare him to that one, but of all the other mainline G1 style Soundwaves I own, I actually think that the robot mode on this guy could very well be my favourite, so we're just going to give him a quick little transformation here. So where do we start? So we start with the legs. That's jammed in there pretty good. Here we go, detach his weapons. Bring those around. Flip his feet out. Bring his arms around. Very simple transformation, which is why you're seeing me actually do it on camera. So, pop the head up. Give him his little blaster. And finally, his shoulder cannon. Look at that. This is easily the most cartoon accurate Soundwave figure that I own. And he's tiny. He's absolutely tiny, as you can see in my hand here. Let me just adjust this camera a bit. He's so small. He's just a little baby. But he looks absolutely awesome. He looks like Soundwave has just jumped off the screen and right into our hands here. He is just a beautiful, beautiful looking figure. And it's because he's so small that I think I'm even more so impressed with how well he turned out. And if you're listening, Hasbro / Takara, if you're planning on doing a Studio Series 86 Soundwave, just blow up this mold. Just make it bigger. Make it. Don't change anything about the engineering. I know it's simple, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And just basically take the mold, increase it in size, and give us this as our Studio Series 86 Soundwave, because this Soundwave, in my opinion, looks absolutely perfect. He really does. And yeah, I would have loved something that looked like this as a kid. He just looks so cool. Look at that. Amazing. Amazing. And like I said, the details that they've crammed into this for such a small figure, it's just really, really impressive. And if I'm not mistaken, the panel, his front tape deck, does open, and they have even included Laserbeak in tape form, which I just think is spectacular. They did not need to include that. It was a tiny toy. You wouldn't expect them to have included this. The detail on that is fantastic considering the size. Slot him back in there, close up the chest, fits perfectly. I am just totally enamored with this little guy. He just goes great with the other core class Decepticons, but He is by far and by a wide margin, I think, the best core class figure that they have released in these modern lines so far. He just really, really pops. I also have the Sound Blaster recolor of him, which looks very cool as well, but obviously I have a particular fondness for just the standard G1 Soundwave as shown here. But I am just, yeah, I was just really tickled by this figure. I like him better than the big War for Cybertron one and the Netflix one and all those other ones. Like I've said, I've quite a few variations of Soundwave from different series over the years, but this guy is just, yeah, what can I say? I'm just gushing over him. He just looks so cool. He's everything I ever wanted in a Soundwave figure, even though he is absolutely tiny. But like I said, Hasbro, if you're listening, if you are planning on doing a Studio Series 86 Soundwave, which I believe you are, just make this guy again, except bigger, because you really nailed it. You really nailed it, and I don't really think you can improve much more on this design. And old man that I am, I prefer the simplistic transformation. You know, I don't have to go fiddling about with it too much. It's really easy to transform from tape deck to robot mode and back again, which is a big winner for me. So there he is, the most modern figure on my list today, the smallest, but what he lacks in size he makes up for in exquisite detail. So core class Soundwave superior, every other Soundwave inferior.
Well, that's all we have time for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to working with my friends on future video projects and bring them to you here on Chasing 80s Toys. For now, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.